In San Jose, California, there is a house that should not exist. A mansion sprawling with over 160 rooms, a labyrinth of corridors, secret passages, and staircases that lead to nowhere. This is the Winchester Mystery House, an architectural anomaly, a puzzling enigma, and for some, a haunted relic of the past. From the outside, it might look like just another Victorian mansion, but step inside and you'll feel it. An oppressive weight, as if the house itself is alive. Every door, every window, every creak in the floorboards seems to whisper of lives lost, tragedies endured, and secrets buried deep within its walls. At the center of this mystery is a woman, Sarah Winchester, an heiress who spent nearly 40 years building this bizarre structure, guided, she claimed, by forces beyond this world. This house is her story, a story of grief, guilt, and a desperate attempt to escape the clutches of a curse she believed would never let her go. Sarah Winchester was no stranger to wealth or privilege. Born into a prosperous family and later married to William Winchester, heir to the rifle empire that bore his name, her life seemed like a fairy tale. But fairy tales often hide darkness, and for Sarah, that darkness struck with devastating force. Her first heartbreak came when her infant daughter, Annie, died unexpectedly. The loss shattered her world, plunging her into a grief she could never escape. Years later, tragedy struck again. William, her beloved husband, succumbed to tuberculosis, leaving Sarah alone with an inheritance that felt more like a curse than a blessing. Sarah inherited a staggering $20 million, a fortune built on the Winchester rifle, the gun that won the West. But with that fortune came whispers of its bloody legacy. Thousands of lives had been cut short by the weapon her family had created, and Sarah began to believe those restless souls were now seeking revenge. The haunting whispers grew louder, filling her days and nights with an unshakable dread. Her sorrow turned to paranoia, and soon she was convinced that she and her family were cursed. In her desperation, Sarah turned to the spiritual realm, seeking answers from those who claimed to understand the forces of the unseen. She visited a medium, a figure known for their connection to the other side. Their meeting would alter the course of her life forever. In a dimly lit room, with only the flicker of candles to light their faces, the medium delivered a chilling prophecy. Sarah was indeed haunted by the countless souls who had died at the hands of Winchester rifles. These spirits, the medium warned, would never rest. They would pursue her relentlessly unless she took drastic action. Sarah listened in horror as the medium explained the solution. She must build a house. Not just any house, a house that would never be completed, a house so vast and so confusing that the spirits would become lost within its walls. And above all, she must never stop building, or her own life would come to a swift and tragic end. Terrified but determined, Sarah left the medium's home with a single mission: to appease the spirits and escape their wrath. Construction began almost immediately. Sarah purchased a modest farmhouse in San Jose, California, but what she envisioned was far from modest. With her vast fortune, she hired teams of workers and began a project that would consume the next 38 years of her life. Day and night, the sounds of construction echoed across the property. Workers built and rebuilt, often under bizarre and seemingly nonsensical instructions. One day, Sarah might order an elegant stained glass window to be installed, only to have it boarded up the next. On another, she might direct the construction of a staircase, only for it to lead directly into the ceiling. The house expanded in every direction, growing into a sprawling labyrinth. Rooms were added only to be sealed off. Hallways twisted and turned with no logical pattern. And yet there was a method to Sarah's madness. She believed the spirits guided her through nightly seances, providing blueprints for the next day's construction. To outsiders, it was chaos. To Sarah, it was survival. The Winchester Mystery House is no ordinary mansion. Its architecture defies logic, its design seems to taunt reason, and its very essence feels wrong. Step through its doors and you'll find yourself in a maze of contradictions. There are hallways that stretch endlessly, only to lead to dead ends. Doors open to sheer drops, staircases ascend to blank ceilings, and windows look out into walls. No two rooms are alike, and every corner feels like a trap. Visitors often describe a feeling of disorientation, as if the house itself is alive in deliberately confusing them. Some say Sarah designed it this way to protect herself, to confuse the spirits and prevent them from following her. But others believe the truth is far darker. The house wasn't built to trap the spirits. It was built to contain her. As you wander its endless halls, you can't shake the feeling that you're being watched. Every shadow seems to move. Every creak of the floorboard sounds like footsteps. In the Winchester Mystery House, nothing is as it seems, and nothing ever feels quite right. Every night, when the world was silent and still, Sarah Winchester began her midnight rituals. Clutching a candle, she would wander the halls of her mansion, her shadow stretching long and thin against the walls. The air would grow heavy, as if the house itself was holding its breath. Her destination was always the same: a small, secret room hidden deep within the mansion. Known as the Seance Room, it was here that Sarah claimed to communicate with the spirits. She would sit alone in the flickering candlelight, surrounded by symbols and artifacts meant to bridge the gap between the living and the dead. What messages she received, what whispers she heard, remains a mystery. But whatever transpired in that room dictated every decision she made. Each night, the spirits told her what to build next, and each day, her workers followed her instructions without question. It was an endless cycle, one that Sarah believed was the only thing keeping her alive. Some say the Winchester Mystery House was a sanctuary for spirits. Others believe it was a prison. Every dead-end staircase, every sealed-off room, and every secret passage was said to serve a purpose: to confuse and trap the spirits Sarah feared so deeply. The house was a maze designed to disorient, a fortress meant to protect its builder. But even with its countless traps, Sarah never felt truly safe. She continued building, adding more and more rooms, as if trying to outrun the inevitable. Yet the mansion seemed to take on a life of its own, growing and shifting like a living entity. And as the years passed, the question remained: was Sarah truly in control of her creation, or had the house taken control of her? More than a century has passed since Sarah Winchester's death, but her mansion remains far from quiet. Those who visit often report strange occurrences: disembodied voices, shadowy figures glimpsed from the corner of the eye, and sudden, inexplicable cold spots. Many believe Sarah's spirits never left. Perhaps they are still wandering the halls, lost in the maze she built for them. Or perhaps Sarah herself remains, her restless soul unable to leave the house that consumed her life. Even now, the Winchester Mystery House is a place where the veil between worlds feels paper thin. To walk its halls is to feel the weight of its history, the sorrow of its creator, and the lingering presence of something otherworldly. The Winchester Mystery House stands as a monument to one woman's torment. It is a testament to a mind consumed by guilt, a fortune built on tragedy, and a legacy that will never be forgotten. To this day, the mansion draws visitors from around the world, all hoping to unravel its mysteries. But no matter how many tours are given, no matter how many stories are told, one truth remains: the Winchester Mystery House is a place that defies understanding. Some houses hold memories. This one holds secrets, secrets that may never be fully uncovered. And as you leave its doors, you'll feel it: the sense that the house is still watching, still waiting, and still alive.